Democratic Congressman Khanna kind enough to join us. Congressman, good to see you again.
Neil, it's always a pleasure.
How should we respond to the Saudis?
Neil, there need to be consequences. We provide them with 70% of their arms. U.S. technicians allow their planes to fly. President Bush Sr. defended them against Saddam Hussein. We need to say we're going to suspend weapons sales. We need to say that we're going to suspend U.S. technicians going there and parts supplies if they don't reverse their decision.
So how long would we keep that suspension going? Now, you're looking forward to them reversing that decision. That doesn't seem imminent. So what would that mean?
In the legislation Senator Blumenthal and I have introduced, it would be up to a year, and we would put pressure on them to reconsider. Here's the thing. They can't go to China and Russia for the arms. It would take them 5 to 10 years. They are very dependent on our parts, and we have tremendous amount of joint defense agreements with them where we're actually sending them sensitive U.S. technology, producing it in Saudi Arabia. Now, I understand that they're an ally. We need the alliance. There are other nations that are threats in the Middle East. I'm not saying do away with the total alliance, but I am saying you don't treat an ally the way they're treating us.
Well, they apparently made this move. We don't know for sure, Congressman, because of our overtures to Iran and trying to, sort of recook that deal. And they looked at that as harmful and endangering them. What do you say?
Well, they don't get to dictate how we interact with other countries. They're the ones who are dependent on our military. They're the ones whose oil, by the way, is being drilled by American technology. And by the way, on this show, I've at times been critical of big oil. But let me tell you, Saudi makes the big oil companies look like saints. They're making 70% profits on their barrels of oil.
But I'm just saying from the Saudis' perspective, sir, believe me, I'm far from an apologist for them, that they look at Iran as sponsor of these Houthi rebels who tried to topple the Saudi kingdom a number of times, and here we are, in their eyes, in bed with them. What do you say?
We're not providing arms to Iran. We're not providing our defense sales to Iran. We don't have troops in Iran, nor do I think we should. We've clearly sided with the Saudis, but the Saudis have engaged in a brutal war in Yemen. They murdered Khashoggi. And now think about it. When Americans are hurting at the pump, there's no doubt gas prices have gone up and are now starting to go up again. They are slapping Americans in the face. Allies don't do that to each other.
But we wouldn't be in this pickle, would we, Congressman, if we explored more energy on our own here?
Well, I have said let's have a ban on exporting gasoline. As you know, look, oil production actually in this country is up. It's up over 2020 and 2021. It's not quite at 2019 levels. In 2023, it's supposed to be at record production.
Well, that's a layup comparing it to 2020, 2021, right? I mean, we were dealing with COVID and everything else.
Sure, but by 2023, it's supposed to be around 2019 levels and perhaps even exceeded. And the refineries, as you know, that's a 5-year horizon in terms of building new refineries. In the short term, the biggest thing we can do is stop exporting the gasoline, other than to our allies in Europe, and be tougher on OPEC. I mean, I don't understand what the rationale is not to be tough on OPEC.
But isn't it weird having to get oil or reach out for oil or bemoan not getting enough oil from OPEC and OPEC plus countries when we have plenty of it here? And I see certainly what you're saying about exporting it, but we've been known to at least make calls and overtures to the Venezuelans, now to the Iranians. That's a weird position to be in, don't you think?
Sure, and that's why we need more energy independence. And the long term, in my view, is a renewable moonshot on renewable energy, so we're not as dependent on the petrostates overseas. But in the short term, yes, we need to have an export ban and we need more production. The challenge is on the production. A lot of that, as you know, Neil, takes years. I mean, to build new refineries and to build more oil capacity. The short-term fix is to ban the exports.
Has the president, obviously he knows of yours and Senator Blumenthal's plan and goal here to sort of, stick it to the Saudis and maybe arms sales to respond to this snub. Has he said that he's interested, that he might do just that?
We've had conversations with the senior people at the National Security Council, and the president was asked directly about our legislation. He said he's considering it. He said there will be consequences. My view is he should give a primetime address to the American people, explaining what Saudi Arabia did and laying out very specific consequences.